Want to learn about book marketing groups? Then this is a show for you. Hi, I'm author Tonya Duncan Ellis with another episode of Write This, my author interview show. And today I'm happy to welcome Susan Johnston Taylor, who will talk about book marketing and marketing groups that she set up when she published her first book. And I'm excited to have her join her. I see her here, so we're going to invite her on. These little hiccups. So I'm excited to have her on to learn about marketing. And she also has some interesting
Thanks for
things.
having me.
Oh, hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fine. I am so excited on Susan and to learn a little bit. You marketed your book. Did you just release it this year?
Yeah, my debut picture book, Animals in Surprising Shades, came out in March with Gnome Road Press, so very exciting. And I helped found PB Spree in 2023, which is a book marketing group, and then I'm also a member of Steam Team Books and Green PB 2023.
Okay. Well, that's going to be great to talk about setting up marketing groups and how people can work in community to help get their books off the ground when they do their launches. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. Where are you from? And tell us a little bit about your book.
Sure. So currently I live in Austin, Texas, and I believe we met in person at the Texas Library Association conference earlier this year at the SCBWI table.
Okay.
And for a long time, I've written for adults. I wrote a lot about personal finance and small business for magazines and websites. And a couple of years ago, I just needed a different creative challenge. So I thought, what could be more different than writing about mortgages and credit cards? I know, I'll try writing picture books. And I always loved poetry when I was a child, but it didn't seem really like a viable career path. So I kind of set that aside, but I've always loved music and poetry. So my debut book is a STEM poetry collection that each spread introduces kids to a different animal and a different poetic form.
That sounds cool. Now, do you have your book? You can show the cover of your
Yeah.
book? Yeah, that's neat. And it's neat to think you get to write poetry as a children's book author. It's kind of like,
Yeah, absolutely. One second.
okay. So we'll wait for her to get that. And then that's cool that you live right down the road from me in Austin.
You know, funnily enough, oh, here it is.
Okay.
So I couldn't figure out how to unmirror my screen.
Right.
So it's showing up backwards. That's why I took it out of the frame, because I was afraid that it was going to be distracting. But I think I should get my cover, little marketing tip. I'm going to get my cover printed backwards, and then I could have it next to me on camera, and it should show front ways in an Instagram live.
What I don't understand with Instagram is sometimes when I record videos with my books, I'll just record them from my phone. So then they'll be the right direction. But in the app itself, I don't know how to get it flipped. So that's something I'm going to challenge myself and see if I can learn to do that.
Yeah, I was looking it up actually before our session, and even though the settings on my camera, I have the setting for mirroring is turned off, Instagram Live just seems like it insists on mirroring. And of course, if we were like recording this and editing it, we could mirror it front way. But it didn't seem like there was a good way to do it in Instagram Live. So I think I'm going to get my cover printed backwards, and then when I hold it up, you'll be able to read the cover.
Okay, cool. So what made you write about animals, or what got you choosing this topic?
I think my dad was very into science, and he passed on a curiosity about the natural world to me. And then on top of that, in January of 2020, I read about the Malabar giant squirrels in India, and I was so fascinated because they come in all kinds of vibrant colors, navy blues, golds, purples, to camouflage with their natural environment. And it got me curious about other animals who come in some interesting colors that we wouldn't expect. And that is what inspired me to write Animals in Surprising Shades.
Oh, that sounds really cool, and something that children would be interested in. So that's a good idea. Now, how did you come up with this marketing group? Tell us about that and give us tips on how we can start our own marketing group.
Sure. So after my book contract was signed, my editor said that now one of the things that you might want to, it was signed back in 2021. So she said, now one of the things you might want to do as you're waiting for your book to come out is you might want to find a book marketing group that you can participate in. So several of us in the 12 by 12 picture book challenge, which I believe you're also a member, Tonya, several of us posted saying, hey, does anyone have any 2023 picture books? Would you want to form a group? So there were 5 original members from 12 by 12, and we created a private Facebook group to talk about kind of what we wanted to do, what we wanted our group to look like, and then we recruited some other members, and things got going. And because I have a background I've worked as a copywriter and in marketing and in project management, and I think my project management skills are how I ended up sort of leading the group.
Okay, great. So what do you do in the group? What is a book marketing group? What kind of things are you?
So we're pretty active on social media, and I think as different platforms change and as trends come and go, we also want to be fluid so that we can evolve with how the market is headed. But we have official accounts on Twitter/X, Instagram. We haven't been as active on Facebook. What's been more powerful for us on Facebook is when individual members, share things for other members, and then we comment and help amplify their posts on Facebook. We set up a list of group expectations when we were forming the group, and one of those expectations is that we would all review each other's books and help people get those pre-publication reviews and those reviews on Amazon, which is so important. We've partnered up with some other groups to try to get people to, I don't think there's really anything magical that happens when you hit 50 or 75 reviews on Amazon, but it certainly can't hurt with visibility. So we help members get reviews. We also, share different opportunities. Yesterday, I just sent out an email. We have a Google email list so that we're all subscribed, and we can just type in one address and it goes to all of our members. And I shared that Kate Messner had opened signups for World Read Aloud Day on February 7th, because people have been talking about wanting to do it and they weren't sure when signups would go live. So we share opportunities like that as well.
Okay, that's great. So it's kind of like a community where you help amplify each other's books. And
exactly.
Now, are you members of any other groups, or is it just that one?
Yeah, in addition to PB's Free, I'm also a member of STEAM Team Books, which is a group for people with STEAM books for young people, which is pretty broad, so that's a bigger group. And then I'm also part of Green PB 2023, which is a group for picture book creators with nature books.
Okay, so you're in a lot of groups. So how is it managing that? Is it difficult, or how do you find that?
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but I'm not really in charge of those other 2 groups, so I participate as much as I'm able to. I think Green PB also has the expectation that we will review all of each other's books. Fortunately, picture books are pretty short, so that's manageable. It's also important for me to stay current on what's coming out in the market and what publishers are acquiring. So I see reading and writing reviews for fellow members. I also see that also helping me grow my craft and my understanding of the industry as well.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point that I hadn't thought of. Well, how did you connect with these other groups, or give people tips on how can they get connected? What if they're not in 12 by 12, or how can they find members to be a part of?
Sure. I would say join other communities, whether it's whether you're on Blue Sky or Instagram or Facebook. There are tons of Kidlit communities. I know Kidlit 411 on Facebook is very active, and there's often people saying, I'm looking for a group for middle grade authors with books coming out in 2024. And, that's a way to get connected. You can either post, say, I'm looking for a group, and usually someone will say, oh, my friend is forming a group, my critique partner has a group, you should talk to so-and-so. Or you can say, hey, we have a group and we want more authors to join us. So usually there's a Google form that you would fill out if you're interested in joining the group. And that's usually how it happens. But there's lots of other groups on Facebook as well, where people are actively like looking for groups and starting groups and adding people to groups. So that's really exciting. I would say though that it's probably a good idea to wait until your official book announcement, because oftentimes books get moved around, like publication dates get moved around. That happened to us with several members of PB Spree. They signed up for the group, and then by the time their announcement came out, the book had been pushed to 2024 or 2025, and they invested a lot of time in, supporting 2023 members. And so we're going to support them when their book comes out in 2024, but it might have been easier for them if they had, joined a 2024, waited a little longer and joined a 2024 group.
Right. Now, what are some other best practices when you're a member of a group?
We try to keep up with the reviews. I mean, I certainly understand in some of the groups, there's people who've had, tremendous family obligations and other things come up. So, I'm very sensitive to that, but really try to pull your weight and write those reviews for other people. I've heard in other groups that sometimes there can be a little bit of frustration over people who aren't, keeping up with reviews or aren't reciprocating. So I think that's really important to do that. And I also, whenever I see a post from anyone who's in any of my groups, I always try to like it or share it or retweet it to show my support for them and try to amplify them. And also when I'm out in the wild, if I see one of their books out in the wild at a bookstore or at TLA or in a library, I like to snap a photo, share it in my stories, and tag that creator. So that gives them a little bit more content, and also just gives them a warm, fuzzy feeling seeing their book out in the wild.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, because listening, I'm thinking, okay, I got to get some more books to review. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because basically you're kind of being a good literary citizen and you're helping other creatives, and then it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, I try to be. Another thing that we do in some of the marketing groups that I'm part of is on Instagram. Well, so on X or Twitter, if you want to save characters, you can tag your group and your publisher and anyone else that you might want to tag in the graphic rather than in the text, so you're not using up characters in your tweet. And then on Instagram, what we do when we have like big news posts, like my book just won an award or I just had a new book announcement, we tag PB Spree as the collaborator. And once whoever is managing the Instagram, once they accept being a collaborator, it cross posts to both of our feeds, and the likes and the comments are aggregated so that it really amplifies their reach. And I've seen posts get a lot of engagement when someone is tagged as a collaborator versus just, tagging them in the photo or tagging them in the caption. That doesn't seem to have quite as much impact as tagging them on a collaborator. And I believe you have to be on mobile in order to do that, not on the website.
Okay, yeah, so that's really, this sounds very sophisticated as far as the things that you're doing.
That was actually a tip that one of my fellow members of PB Spree passed on, and I've used it for other things too. It's really, really a powerful Instagram strategy.
So it's when I've had that happen, like they have me as also the collaborator, so then I can share my followers at the time. Right. So that's great. Yeah. Now, do you do anything offline with the, or is it mostly online collaboration?
It's primarily online. We have a member of PB Spree in Singapore. We have another one in Pakistan. So that makes in person a little more challenging. But there were two members of PB Spree who were also Texans who were at the Texas Library Association. So it was nice to meet them in person and snap a photo, and then we can, post it on the PB Spree social media of these two creators meeting in person. So that's pretty fun too.
Yeah, that's fun. And it's, I guess, as you started out, you kind of have your own little community and you have your other author friends. So that's another benefit of the participation. Now, once the year is over, of course, your book came out in March, right? Mm-hmm. So continue through the year, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, ideally people continue through the year because the people with fall releases were supporting their spring releases. So we want to make sure that we reciprocate. But we just started announcing for PB Spree, we just started announcing the 2024 members, which is very exciting. So they're posting some graphics on social media to share about those. And it worked out well because our final release for 2023 for PB Spree came out, I think, last week. So now we'll do some holiday promotions. We had a Halloween reel that we collaborated on. And now we're really trying to build up excitement for holiday shopping and also for our 2024 titles. I won't be leading the group in 2024, but I put together a Google Doc with like everything that I thought would be useful for them to know. Like these are some of the things that, you know, came up when I was leading the group. For instance, when we had members apply, we didn't create a wait list, but I think we should have, because there were people who were invited to join the group and ended up not being able to join because their book got pushed or they had personal things come up. So I think having a wait list for a marketing group is a great idea. We like to keep our group around 15 to 25, so it's manageable for everyone to read each other's books and really get to know each other. But STEAM team is a lot bigger, so there certainly are groups that are much larger.
Yeah, and I really like the idea, like you said, you had a post or reel for Halloween, so that helps you with just knowing you're going to have content for different things and not having to worry about doing that by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, yeah, because I didn't have a Halloween. Sorry if you.
We had a lot of fun with our Halloween post. It was purely optional. You know, not everyone is into crafting, but if you wanted to get a kid, a niece, a nephew, or yourself to make a pumpkin like inspired by your book, most people participated. And I actually made pumpkins for 2 of our members who didn't have time to do it for themselves. But it was really fun to see the variety of pumpkins that people came up with. Some of them were carved. Some of them had costume pieces like snorkel goggles. There were painted pumpkins, and we made a reel out of all those photos.
Yeah, that sounds really cute. And speaking of reels, this is a little off the topic, but I noticed on your feed you had some really cute reels about queering. So could you tell a little bit about that in our last minutes?
Sure, yeah. Yes. So I got inspired by another Instagrammer who did kind of a funny reel about people auditioning for college theater programs, about the different requirements. And I thought it would be funny if someone did that for publishing, because agents have so many different requirements and so many different manuscript wish lists. So I created one, and then people really seemed to enjoy it, so I created another one, and then I scripted out a part 3 that's not about querying, but it is about the publishing industry, and I think it'll have pretty broad appeal. So I've had a lot of fun with those. And also, because querying can be such a chore, it's really been a fun creative distraction to script out and act and film and edit these videos too. It's been like a way to, again, flex creative muscles in a different direction.
And I remember when I was querying for an agent, I was joking with my family, saying they're saying, stand on one foot, hop up, say ooga ooga ooga, you know, just do. There's so many, you've got to specifically follow all these different instructions they give. It reminded me of the little man on Elf. Have you seen the little man in the publishing company that came in?
Yes.
Joke on that. Yeah, but those are so cute. So please check out her page if you haven't, because those are hilarious.
Thank you.
So you actually, so you don't have an agent, so you published your book, or you got a publisher without?
Yes, and I have, it's not announced yet, but I have another book under contract, which I also sold without an agent. But, you know, hoping, there are some publishers that aren't open to unagented submissions, so I am still hoping to sign with an agent eventually.
So is that with your same editor that you're working with? Okay, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Good. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Now, where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
Sure. Urban Muse Writer. The Muses, like the Greek Muses, Muse, on Instagram and X. And I'm also Susan Johnston Taylor on Facebook and LinkedIn. And then my website is staylorwrites.com.
Okay, well, thank you so much for all this great information you've shared, Susan. For me, I think I'm in a group. I just joined it a few months ago, and I haven't done that much. Which is giving me a lot of ideas for to do to help leverage participation in the group. So thank you for, and kudos to you on your book, and best wishes for success with your upcoming projects.
Thanks, Tonya.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another fun episode of Write This. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.